So, Arcadian is the story of Paul, an older gentleman in a seemingly war-torn world of pollution or disdain and decay. Something has gone wrong in the world of Arcadian, but we don't really get a look at it because what we see is Paul and his two sons, Joseph and Thomas, I think are their names, who are a set of twin boys who he kind of comes across one day. It's not really clear if they're his sons or if he just happens to find them in the rubble, but they hole up at a little farmhouse in where they shot was Northern Ireland, so a beautiful setting, where everything seems to be pretty normal. There's a farm down the road with a cute girl that one of the boys has taken a liking to, and everything seems pretty good until night falls, in which case the boys have to get inside, lock all the doors, lock all the windows, and hunker down because that's when the beasts come out. Arcadian is a uniquely small budget. It is a small feature. Nick Cage jumped onto it when Mike Nichols, his agent and producer of a few of his films, wrote the script for this. That's when he jumped into it. Our two boys are played by one of them, Game of Thrones boy, right? Jaden Martell. Actually, I think he's, it's not Game of Thrones. It's
It.
What am I thinking of?
He's in It.
Yes. He's in It. That's it. And the other boy is Maxwell Jenkins as Thomas, who I don't know.
He's done a lot of TV.
He's done a lot of TV. Yes. He did that Lost in Space show on Netflix when that was hot. That's kind of our core cast, small budget feature. Our ultimately, I should say, where are we going with our plot? Due to certain events, Paul gets injured and our boys have to take what they learned from their father and survive the night. That's functionally our plot. It is like 90 minutes. It's available on Shudder. And while I do want to talk about Shudder as a platform, we should first talk about the film. Andy, what did you think of Arcadian?
I think there's a lot of good ideas in here, but the execution's it's a little shaky. We do have this interesting family unit where you have Nicolas Cage, the father to these two young boys, but they're kind of coming of age. They're at that age where they're, becoming rebellious. Jaden Martell's Joseph is kind of the more responsible one. He comes home on time. He helps out with he's a little bit of a tinkerer and scientist. He gets like the tractor working. Does exactly what his dad says. Thomas is he's a rebellious teenager. He stays out longer than he should. He's caught the eye of a cute girl at the Rose farm. He fights with his dad. So it's as much of a family drama as it is a creature feature, and it seems very inspired from something like The Village, the movie by M. Night Shyamalan, where there's some creatures that come out at night that we have to hide from, and so we get a lot of that. We always see our doors scratched up and we hear creaking and they pound on the door at night. Unfortunately, the movie does reveal them to us kind of early in the film, which to me kind of ruined it. I think they should have left the surprise a little bit longer, but they, like most things that come at night, there are things that they will eat anyone and anything, and they're just trying to get food, get hungry. So you have the creature feature along with this family drama kind of going on. It mostly works.
Yeah, I think Arcadian's biggest problems come from its pacing. Even though it's 90 minutes, it ends up feeling like a long feature because there's a lot that goes on. It's set over probably about the course of 3 days. And while we don't get a good look at our creature at first, they do kind of reveal it sooner rather than later, and tragically, because it's a low budget feature, it ends up looking more like, it reminded me of like the first season of Stranger Things. You kind of got the Demogorgon, but like you never really get a good look at the Demogorgon. You know what I mean? And when you do see it, it's like blurry because it's moving fast and it's like crappy CGI. Like, and it's a Shudder joint. I don't expect the monster in Arcadian to look incredible, but Andy's right. They kind of reveal it early, and I think it would have been better to kind of soft pedal it. Give me something like A Quiet Place, right? Our little family out in the cabin in the woods, just away from everybody. Or even like Signs, the M. Night Shyamalan joint, right? Like, don't really show us until the end. Like, let that build up. Arcadian does give it to you early. And actually with what I should say is a pretty engaging end to our first act. Basically, one of our boys ends up staying out later than he should have, right? And Nicolas Cage's character, Paul, has to go out and find him, and they end up getting in this whole scrap, and that's all pretty good. That all plays pretty well. But then you have like another 48 minutes of movie to go. And like when you already showed us the creature, like you already showed us the evil, like it's hard to continue ramping up on that. And it's I don't know. I think that's kind of its biggest issue. And by the way, I should say that I said the writer was Mike Nichols. I'm wrong. It's Mike Nylon. That's his name. Excuse me. It's Cage's agent and longtime producer who put this together. And it's directed by Benjamin Brewer, who is not a big director, but it's notable because he was the visual effects lead on Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is kind of cool. There's a lot of great visual effects in that feature. And the visual effects in this movie work good. While the monster is fine, I should say the other issue is it's a lot of handheld. The whole movie is shot in
Real
handheld.
shaky.
And it's like, there's scenes where not only is it shaky, I think they enhanced it after the fact. Like, and added a shaky cam filter in certain bits that maybe were
Shakier
steadier.
cam.
Yeah, and like it just makes for a lot of like quiet movie feeling grounded, and that doesn't. I don't think the illusion works over 90 minutes. I think I kind of fell out of it a little.
Yeah, the pacing is definitely a bit of a problem. Again, I think the ideas are good. The execution is kind of what falters. Our relationship between our two sons and father, played by Nicolas Cage, isn't really well established a lot. It needs to take longer to be like, okay, this is the rebellious teen. This is a more kind of obedient son, and also the conflict with the other farm where they are a family of four and they have a young daughter, and they kind of have. Their farm is bigger. They have more food. Things are clearly going a little bit better for them than our folks. And it just, again, there's a family drama that isn't really sketched out as good as it could have been. The end kind of rushes. Or the end is the third act is where we have a lot of action. Actually, we have our threat of our creatures as well as human threats that come about. It all seems kind of rushed by the time we get there, and I was like, oh, this is where all the production and budget went into, and it's backloaded, and so it means the front is a little bit slower and suffers pacing wise.
Yeah, and Andy and I are like, well, come on, who doesn't love a good Survive the Night movie? Love a good Survive the Night movie. But like, even when it comes down to it, I think Arcadian kind of misses it because it wants to spend more time on kind of the larger drama of these human beings that have been kind of stretched thin by a world gone mad. I totally see that. But like, being the budget that it is, it doesn't show us the world gone mad. We just get a lot of remote scenes set in Northern Ireland. And it's like, yeah, things are crazy back in town, and you never really get to go there. Like that's something that even like Quiet Place and Signs is not a post-apocalyptic feature, but handle well, right? In Quiet Place, they do go into town. They've got to go into the pharmacy and get some meds. Signs has that awesome scene where like Mel Gibson stumbles into M. Night Shyamalan who caught one, right? It's locked up in the kitchen. Like you do get this like good soft pedal of like more danger coming at you. And Arcadian's like a little tipped in the opposite way. I will say one thing that does work well. I do think the acting is good for what's here. Jaden Martell is rock solid coming out of it. Maxwell Jenkins is good as kind of the more flagrant brother who doesn't mean to blow off the rules, but like clearly longs for more than living on a farm hiding away from everything. And then of course there's Nick Cage as Paul, who does not have that many scenes, but he's got a couple good monologues. He like smokes these hand rolled cigarettes he's got. Like you can tell Nick Cage like really is, he was getting into the role of like this post-apocalypse father who's just out and away from everything. Like it's clearly something he sees and wanted to be a part of. IMDb claims he spent 3 months living with his family in solitude just to practice for this movie, which does not sound like fake Cage news, but for what's here, it surprises me because I don't think he needed to commit to 90 days of.
I was like, I feel like he could do this in his sleep.
Yeah, like I'm not convinced by that news, but if that's what he says and that's what happened, overall, I think Arcadian is fine, but I get why I didn't see it in the theater. I think if I had seen this in the theater, I probably would have thought less of it. I should talk about this as a Shudder feature, right? Because we watched it on Shudder. I guess since it's a streaming joint, Andy, do you find yourself being a little bit softer on it? What do you think?
Yeah, a little bit. I would definitely, if I saw this in theaters, I would be not super happy about having paid a ticket price. But yeah, it's perfect for streaming because it's like a little big movie. You got a big star, you got some big ideas, you got a big third act ending. But it's also cut in corners. In other ways, it's a little bit shorter than maybe it should be to kind of establish these relationships. The cast is very small. There's only like 3-4 people on screen. Everyone else is a small unknown actor to make way for Cage, who I'm sure took a big pay cut to be able to do this. But yeah, it's fine for streaming for sure.
I think so. Andy, would you recommend Arcadian?
It's save it for streaming. Again, it's streaming on Shudder right now, which is a horror streaming service. They need to pay us for this promo. It's again, it has some good ideas, not perfectly well executed, but it's enjoyable. It does have some good scares. Again, it's a creature feature. It's a drama. All our actors are committing to what they're doing. It's a shame it doesn't have a bigger budget. We could have a little bit more of an expansive world. But overall, I would recommend it to horror heads.
Yeah, I think Arcadian's fine for streaming. That's what I think. It's 90 minutes. You can throw it on, pretty soft. You might want to make sure your room's real dim because there are bits that are particularly dark, being a feature where the creatures come out at night. Obviously, you got a bit of hiding things in the CGI, but overall, like, fun and fine. And yeah, if I had paid a ticket price, I think I'd be a lot harsher. I'd be like, this is not awesome. This is not a great feature for what Shudder is capable of. You know, you see Skinamarink in theaters, you see Late Night with the Devil in theaters. Like, you feel like, okay, like there is a level where like it's still low budget and it's still small, but there's a certain, I don't know, there's a certain like level or power of art that we want to get behind to put it in theaters. I don't think Arcadian is quite there, but what's here is good. And from what I've seen on Shudder, it is probably one of the better features available on there. There's a lot of good stuff for what it's worth. Andy's right. This isn't sponsored by Shudder, but a lot of good stuff on there. I think you could do worse with Arcadian. And odds are, if it's doing as well as we think, and that we covered it on this show, we heard about it, it'll probably get licensed out to somebody else soon, right? It'll be on Netflix in 4 months or something. You'll see it on the front page like, oh yeah, there's that Shudder movie. They've done that before. So yeah, that's Arcadian. And that's Off Script episode 262. I want you all to know, I mean this. There are a lot of reviewers out there who would have done Arcadian first and then Deadpool and Wolverine and made you stick around, right?
Made
they would
you
have
wait.
said, hey, no, that's right. You got to wait through the ad break and you got to listen to everything. Not here. Not us, baby. No. We give it to you straight. That's how we do it on Off Script Film Review. Andy, what are we watching next week?
Before I get into that, I did want to briefly touch on Shudder, the horror streaming service that we watched on this. I did browse the rest of it. I signed up for the free trial, and they have a pretty good library. There's a bunch of stuff that I want to catch up on, things like Possession, Perfect Blue, a bunch of other things, Skinamarink, that I've been meaning to rewatch, but I'm a little bit too scared to. So pretty good horror selection if you're into that genre. I was pretty impressed with the selection.
Yeah, same. I do need to go rewatch Phil Tippett's Mad God on there. I'm excited to check that out. I did admittedly throw on Late Night with the Devil and get a bit of a rewatch on for that movie. Tons of fun. Yeah, I need to spend some time poking around Shudder. 7-day free trial, and it's like $6 a month or something after that. So you can give it a go. You can check out Arcadian, see what it's about, and then duck. But what do you want to watch next week, Andy?
So we're actually taking next week off because I'm going to be doing some traveling, but we'll be back on August 13th with 2 features, both horror. M. Night Shyamalan's Trap, which comes out this week, starring Josh Hartnett. That's they're trying to catch a serial killer at this big pop star concert. Tons of press around that film. And then August 9th is Cuckoo, which is the new Hunter Schafer, Dan Stevens a horror movie, which we don't really know. Hunter Schafer and family move out to the country or somewhere in the woods. Something's not right with the town. They're experimenting on people. Something like that's going on. It's definitely got big Final Girl vibes. Looks scary. Looks intense. Definitely excited for that. And another FYI release, Borderlands comes out August 9th for anyone interested in that. I kind of like the way that looks, but I'm probably waiting for streaming myself.
Yeah, Borderlands might be an off week for us. Listen, I look forward to every episode of Off Script. I do. But just imagining the thumbnail for Trap and Cuckoo double feature has me salivating, dude. So I'm very much looking forward to the break, get some things in life in order over here, come back on the 13th with Trap and Cuckoo. It's going to be a banger episode. We'll get around to Borderlands. I played all those games, dude. I got to watch it at some point. We will cover it. If you want to hear our future Borderlands review or review for Trap, Cuckoo, you want to hear about things we got upcoming, heading into that winter season, big movies, big things happening. The best way to do that is subscribe to Off Script Film Review on your favorite platform or podcast distribution center, right? For our audio folks at home, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartMedia, wherever you're listening to this right now, there's a subscribe button somewhere around here. I know it. I know it exists. You can hit that. You can rate and review if you like. Drop us a 5-star. What have you. Whatever you feel is appropriate. I feel like if I was reviewing the show, it'd be 5 stars, but it's up to you. We're on social media, Facebook and Instagram, TikTok. We got Twitter. All right, we're on YouTube. Big things going on YouTube. Go sub there. And of course, you can follow us on all the usual social media places as well. You can check out our website, offscriptfilmreview.com, for additional interviews and content. And you can mail us correspondence directly. Let us know what you think of the show. Direct feedback from you to us, the way it's meant to be, at mail@offscriptfilmreview.com. That's right, good old-fashioned email. From all of us at Offscript, the home of bold cinema, I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.
Thanks for watching.